So, I'll start. I haven't done one in ages. So I've got hold of the Call of Cthulhu starter set because I haven't played Cthulhu. Well, I think I've said this in a previous recording. I haven't played Cthulhu since 2018, and I'd read this had a solo adventuring, so I got it. And it's a bit like a choose your own adventure, but I don't know how it'll go, but it might be quite fun. But I also got some of the others that are available because I do like Cthulhu, our Lord Cthulhu. I'm quite fun, and I got the Keeper's book because I've been meaning to get that for a very, very long time. And some of the other ones which I got first suggested it. So anyway. I'm not planning on doing this for very long, so I'll keep an eye on the time because I haven't had my dinner yet. So it's mainly because it's a choose your own adventure. Basically, it will be me reading. So you imagine my children that I'm reading to you at night. If anyone ever watches this, anyway. And what's more, because it's a starter set, because I know some people have been watching these. Because I put some up, and it's a very peculiar feeling. It's a weird feeling. But anyway, starter set. So dice, new dice. Everyone loves new dice. New dice. So yes, we know what a role-playing game is. We know an example of play. Next steps. To play along before you play, make sure you have book 2 nearby. Well, we've got book 2 nearby in here. Read and follow instructions. Read on and follow the instructions starting with section 1. Once you've completed the adventure, perhaps... Yeah, okay. Well, we've got other solo ones as well. Promise to plan you can brand your first adventure. So I've played, here a horror story set in the 1920s where you are the main character. Your choices determine the outcome. It is designed to lead you through the basic rules of the game in a gradual and entertaining fashion. So maybe if you haven't played Call of Cthulhu, I will try to read the rules a little bit more, and maybe you can learn along. I hadn't planned that. I'd planned just on spending half hour, 40 minutes before I made dinner playing Cthulhu. Fully understand. The rules to explain. Make sure I've got 2. You also require 1 of the blank investigator sheets from the box. Okay, I have that. Pencils and notepaper. I have that too. So... I have blank character sheets. Here we go. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. Oh, I know it as a bus stop. It's a relief to put down your heavy case and take off your hat just for a moment. You fan your face. It's been a long summer here, in your hometown, and yet a curious empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher shop, the grocer's with its faded awnings, and the shabby tobacconists. Mistrusting faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and your luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everyone you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you are doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small grey motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your case. Turn to page 263. Say, choose your own adventure. I've not played Choose Your Own Adventure in ages either. I've got loads. I gave them to the children. Strictly speaking, I suppose means I don't have any left anymore. 263. 263. 2 young men with sullen expressions align from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he's rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in his dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ospey. From there you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way, otherwise this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes the draw, and he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage racks up there. I know, I can only really do northern accents. I did an Australian accent for my daughter. I live in Australia. I did an Australian accent for my daughter the other day, and she looked at me weirdly and said, "Why do you only do Australian accents?" As if you'd only ever seen an Australian on television. Which is peculiar, really. I won't do one now. Right, look at your investigator sheet. At the top, you have spaces for 8 characteristics: strength, con, power, dex, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values among them, writing them in the large squares beside each. Okay, I'll pause this for a second and then we shall return. So, I did top, which was 80 for my intelligence, because this is Cthulhu. 70 for education, 60 for both appearance and power, 50 for both size, dex, and constitution, and 40 for strength, because this is Cthulhu. Being strong does not help you against an old one. 8. You really want to be able to investigate. Appearance, I think appearance might waylay you for talking to people, or possibly. So that will help you. And anything for intelligence or getting new ideas, or education for researching things will also help you. Possibly dex for running the heck away from things. But everything else. Size, maybe, if you have to pick something up. But strength and con isn't really going to help. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your case to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get your grip on the heavy case. Now this is where it fails. If your size is 40, go to 23. Oh, it's 50. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. Way! We can actually lift this up. Go to 38. Unless it's going to ask me to do a check. The driver continues to enjoy a cigarette, watching with keen interest as you struggle with your case. You grit your teeth and heave the second one into place. Perhaps the residents of Arkham will have better manners. 233. Like a story with intervals. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engines cough into life. You board grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip, at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see the church spire over the bow of the low hill. Then the road dips, and it too is gone. Arkham is your new home now. You'll travel there and make a new start. Okay, what we've got? You will see 2 small boxes to the right of each characteristic value. Half each value round. Okay, I'll do this and then I'll come back. Are we going? Yeah, sorry. I'll try editing those little bits out. Maybe this. So, what that was doing was that asked me to do a half and then a fifth of each of my statistics, because in Cthulhu you have different difficulties of attempting to try something. It's a rolling under percentage. So for example, my appearance is, well, let's say intelligence, because my intelligence is 80, so to look something up or to know something easy, it would be under 80. Something that's a bit harder would be under 40, half, and something that's extremely hard would be under a fifth, which is 16. Now, also it asked me to do my sanity points and my magic points, and I knew power was important for something. So your sanity points, very important to Call of Cthulhu, because many things you'll interact with is not able to be understood by a normal brain. Is your starting power, so I start with 60, and your magic points is what you wrote for the 1/5 value, which is 12. So I start with 12 magic points. So that's where a high power is quite useful in Cthulhu. So as you can interact with things in the world of mythos without going insane. We're now turning to page section 134. 10 minutes so far. 134. The coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window and by switching seats you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passes cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You've just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Add size and con together, then divide the total by 10, rounding down. This is the starting value of your hit points. Okay, you also have a luck roll. Roll 3d6, we call this 3d6. Multiply your 3d6 roll by 5 to get your beginning luck score and mark it on your investigator sheet. So we're going to do our hit points and our luck. And then we're going to need to do, then I'll come back, because we need to do a check against deck. So we have just worked out our hit points. Our hit points is adding your size and your constitution together. Me being 40 and 50 respectively, adding 90 and dividing by 10. So I start with 9 hit points. Hit points are important for getting to scraps if you do get into scraps, but as Cthulhu isn't really a guns blazing game, hit points aren't as important as, say, sanity is. From memory, I don't think many people die from lack of hit points. I mean, basically, if something big hits you, you're dead anyway. But this is luck, and this is why I turn this on. So let's flick this over to here. So my luck score is 3d6. So 6, 12, 13 multiplied by 5. So what's that? So 13, that's 130 divided by 2 is 65. So I start with 65 luck points. I now must make a roll against my dexterity. So we're going to roll a D100. This means rolling 2. So a D100, and we want to get equal to or less than our dex, and our dex is 50. 77, so we failed that. So we failed, we go to 59. I think we're going to hurt ourselves in the bus. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. Too late. You reach for the seat in front. You fall into the aisle and your ribs crush against the edge of the seat opposite. Breath rushes out of you. The coach stops with a thump. Your driver leaps from his seat into the road. As you sprawl dizzy in the aisle, you hear a string of incendiary curses. Driver climbs back into the cab and sees you on the floor. He looks concerned and assists you back into your seat. You see what has happened now. A Fordson tractor has stopped in the road and he had to swerve to avoid the steel obstacle. Sorry, he says. All them fields, and he has to pick the road to park. You alright? You don't think anything's broken, but you'll have a colourful bruise for the next few days. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. You lost 1 hit point in the accident. Mark the loss on your investigator sheet, but keep track of your original value. You'll eventually heal back. Okay, I'm going to do the original value in pen. Where's hit points here? 9. So I've lost 1 hit point, so I am on 8 hit points. Go to page 71. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with a little bit more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. Sorry about that before, he says. That fella was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name? I know they're meant to be American. I don't do a very good American accent. The accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's, but it didn't seem shrewd to antagonise the man while he was driving you through the middle of nowhere. Make up a name for your character and record it on your investigator sheet. You may add your age for the purpose of this adventure. Your character should probably be aged between 23 and 36. Let's make my character 35. What shall we be? Shall we be Poet Peter? Because I am Peter. We will be Peter Hawthorne, because it just dropped into my head. Hawthorne. The coach turns onto a narrower road which weaves uphill through the woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once. Do apologise. Didn't like it much. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there then? Special someone waiting? The afternoon's wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's your line? Choose an occupation for your character from the following options. You're an antiquarian. If I read that right. Doctor of medicine. Journalist. No. Private investigator. No. Professor. I think with intelligent education, it's an antiquarian. I know what. Antiquarian. Antiquarian. Someone who studies old things, isn't it? Someone who studies old things. Books. It's rare and old books. Oh, that might be. So I'm thinking the rare and old books or professor, based on what I've got. Rare and old books might be a bit more interesting. I'm going to go rare and old books. So occupation, and I won't forget what it says. So how would that be? It'd be antiquarian, old bookseller. As I've said before, I am educated. Page 102. I've got a degree in everything. I used to be a school teacher. I do apologise for anyone whose children I taught. You mentioned the assistant's position you were offered at Arkham Rare Books and Maps on the strength of a recommendation by a distant friend of the family. Thinking about the treasures that must pass through that shop returns some of the excitement you felt upon receiving the letter of appointment. You feel a tingle in your palms. You can't wait to get started. Books, eh? Silas asks, takes the conversation no further. You get the feeling he's not much of a reader. Your credit rating skill is 20%. My credit rating skill is 20%. Credit rating, here, 20. Your occupation skills are, hold on, let's pause this. So that was going through the skills for my occupation. So they are credit rating, which is at 20%, and then I have appraise, arts and crafts, specify particular field. I haven't done that. I need to specify field. Maybe fine art, painting, ancient carving, arts and crafts. Hold on. So that was me. I just quickly looked up the list in the Keeper's Guide on different arts and crafts. I was either going to pick fine art, but one was writer, so I picked writer. Maybe Peter Hawthorne is an aspiring writer, so Peter has read many of books, particularly ancient ones, and has particular interest. I picked occult as an interest, so maybe specialised in occult books and has been making some jottings and might one day aspire to write a book about some of the occult transcripts that he's read. So I'll continue. So arts and craft, writer, charm, then we have history, language. I picked Latin, library use, occult, and spot hidden. You then get 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40 to distribute through them. I did appraise at 60, writer at 40, charm at, so he's not going to write a very good book, charm at 50, then we have history at 50, the ancient language of Latin at 50, library use at 70, it probably is going to be very useful to find books, occult at 60, I don't know, maybe I'm putting my thumb on the scales here, and spot hidden at 40. So that's that so far. Ignore any starting value already mentioned on the investigator sheet. Go to 128. Maybe when we get there, I will stop and make my dinner. You realise Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge, and you're treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into the hazy cloud. There's no settlement, not even a cabin as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just about make out what might be 2 white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? So you have the base ability and most skills listed in brackets after the skill name to the investigator sheet. For instance, you have 20% in climb and a base dodge equal to half your dex. Dodge, half dex. I'll write that down now. That'd be 25. Choose 4 skills which you are not occupation skills. Neither can it be chaos mythos. These are your personal interest skills. Boost each of these by 20 points. Right, I'll do that, come back. So that was asking me to pick 4, where was that bit? Choosing 4 skills which are not occupation skills nor chaos mythos. You can only get that by reading books and actually doing. You can't just put points into it. These are personal interest skills. I would boost each of those by 20 points. I picked, what did I pick? I picked persuade. I thought that would be good. I picked psychology. I thought maybe in working with people in the shop and talking to people about books of their interest, Peter has developed can do the persuade, that this is this to sell books and to deal with books and to buy books at a good price. And psychology, the psychology of people in the process. He also has a natural interest in science. And I thought maybe with the occult and various other books that he's learned a little bit of magic and so has sleight of hand. So I thought that'd be quite interesting. And then it suggests you go through, and I used the table at the back of the Keeper's Guide to do the halves and the fifths for all of those skills. And now we are to turn to section 144. The motor coach rattles on through the hills and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally a welcome sight comes into view, a settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ospey, but perhaps you can persuade Silence to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse that you don't recognise and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings, low dwellings, constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. You must now choose to make a roll against Drive Auto or Psychology. If you choose Drive Auto, you need to roll equal to or less than the skill value. If you choose Psychology, you need to roll a hard success. This is equal to or less than half the skill value. I think the other one's called an extreme. You may attempt only one skill. Alright, so we will try Psychology because our Drive Auto is its base 20%. And our Psychology, which I just got, is 30. Oh dear. So basically we have Psychology 15%, or we have Drive Auto 20%. So we either try Drive Auto or Psychology. You may only attempt one skill roll. If you succeed against Drive Auto, if you roll hard success against Psychology, if you fail both rolls. Okay. So statistically speaking, Drive Auto is our best chance. Psychology being a 15% and Drive Auto being the base 20%. So I think we'll do the base 20% Drive Auto. Can you see this? You can. 89. Wow, that's a failure. We haven't got a clue. 194. Haven't got a clue. Does Silas get angry and beat us to death? 194. Silas opens the engine compartment. Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure, might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cores neither. And with the light failing, I reckon we'd better be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadows from your surroundings are already long, and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This is Emberhead. Miles from any place this is. I only come through here twice a week, but the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley. Turn right, first house on your left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning and we'll see how we stand. To look for May Ledbetter's house, go to 267. To ask Silas where he will be spending the night, go to 251. To challenge Silas about the breakdown, go to 2... Well, we're not going to challenge him. Oh, maybe we'll ask him, where are you going to spend the night? But Silas, where will you be spending the night? If he says in the coach, I might ask if I can pay for him to help. You ask Silas about Silas's plans. He gives the engine a sour glance before answering. I've got acquaintances here in the village. Reckon one of them owes me a favour. Enough for bed and breakfast, in any case. He stares at his grubby hands. Probably won't stretch to a hot bath, though. You don't seem to have a lot of options. You fetch your case from the back of the motor coach. The last thing you need is for all your worldly possessions to disappear into some stranger's hovel overnight. 267. It's not very trusting, no? Am I? 267. What do we got? 26 minutes. Do 5 more minutes. And then I'll do a part 2. Maybe even a part 3. Depends how it goes. You drag your case between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary, considering you've spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in neat copper plate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on the weather-beaten door. Mind you, that might be... Oh, maybe when we go to sleep. Maybe we'll finish when we go to sleep. And then we can continue waking up in the morning. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt's drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your travelling suit and your case. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Oh, I might be able to do this. Bejesus and begorra. Hello? Should I take it? Oh, God, that's not Irish, is it? Oh, hello? Should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her race. Oh, I'm going to have to practice that. I'm going to have to practice accents if I'm going to do this. Normally, all my accents come from octonauts, which means everything is either South American or comes from the north of England. Not Netflix octonauts. Don't watch Netflix octonauts. That's awful. You inquire as to her rates. Suppressing... This is what I used to do when I was reading to children as well. As far as you've seen, the village doesn't offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside. We'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings. But it's well kept, and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing, and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks May. Oh, there's an old ancient festival in a village. I've seen Wicker Man. I know what that means. To explain what happened with Silas and the coach, go to 14. To ask about the festival, go to 21. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? I'll ask about the festival. Let's ask about the festival. Let's find out about the festival. Well now, I suppose the festival is about the only reason folks normally come to Emberhead. I thought you may have come to study it or take some photos. Well, it's not tomorrow night, but the night after. I suppose it looks very strange to a passer-by. Oh dear. May tops up your tea. The spout chinks against your cup. We've got the beacon, you see. One night every year there's a torchlit procession and we light the beacon on the cliffs. You never see the like of it, you know. They say it keeps the spirit of the village alive for another year. It's a celebration! A celebration! She tails off for a moment and blinks. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather on, did you? You must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price. So low, you accept it without even hesitation. The room's small, but comfortable, and the stew's dark, but hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. To talk to May some more, go to 31. To walk around and get your bearings, go to 75. It's cold and dark outside. To turn in for an early night, go to 63. I think what with my charm, so me personally, if I'll probably be chatty. I mean, you might as well. To talk to May some more, go to 31. Let's talk to May some more. Maybe we can ask about this festival. May talks about life in Emberhead. In her letters, my sister always asks if I'm not bored living in such a small place. She lives in New York. Then she writes how frightened she is to walk home at night. I ask you. You mention your hopes for a new life in Arkham. May doesn't seem to hear you. It's a small place here. Yes, it is. But that means we have a real community. Everybody's face is known. Everybody works together. Nobody's excluded. Except those who choose to exclude themselves, of course. I couldn't live anywhere else now. Make a charm roll. If you succeed, go to 39. If you fail, go to 51. What did I picked charm, didn't I? 50% charm. Come on. 75. That's a high rolling dice. Okay, well we failed to charm May. May's not one for being charmed. Where are we? Make a charm roll. 39. If you succeed, go to 39. If you fail, go to 51. We try and charm. Maybe we can push it. Can we push rolls? 51. I actually started reading 50. There's some weird language at the bottom that looks very mythos. As the hour wears on, you are amused to hear May transform into a sort of tired tourist guide. Of course, the views from here are spectacular on a good day. A clear view all the way around. If you're a painter, you'll be right at home. If your tastes run more to the artisan, they're the workshops on Salisbury Street, just at the end here. Turn to the right. They're not set up for visitors, you understand, but you'll see real craftsmen at work and genuine article. Now, if you're looking for freshly baked bread, it seems a shame to point out that you intend to be on your way shortly in the morning. You let May continue until she begins to yawn. Would you listen to me yap? Time to turn in. When would you like your breakfast? Page 63. What did he say? He said 8 o'clock, didn't he? As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you can see is a wooden door, securely closed. May tuts. The young lady of the house. She'll have been listening to us. Ruth! Come greet our guest. There's a short pause and then the door creaks open. 2 wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tasselled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now, get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. See, that would have been useful earlier on. I could have done a different voice. I'd have done a more... There we go. We'll do it again. Pleased to meet you. Now, get back to bed. The door closes. My daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. She's a delight. And a torment. All in one. Don't you worry. She sleeps with me. She'll not disturb you. Now, good night to you. You retire to your room. It's a little chilly, but you're too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean, and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. 154. Is that how something happens in the night? What time? Oh, there we go, 34 minutes. So we are going to page 154. 154. That's about dreaming. Okay, 154. For now, that'll do. For now, that's job done.